Hello, my friend. Buenos dias, buenas tardes, buenas noches, or whatever is the time where you are right now. One of these that marked my sex life the most was seeing the phase of frustration and disgust once my performance was terrible or bad. One of the main reasons for this was the fact that I used to suffer premature ejaculation and I couldn't last more than 30 seconds or 1 minute. That was my maximum in the best cases. I remember specifically a black girl that I dated when I was in the Caribbean, and she was super, I don't know if to say in love, I could say she was, right? But she was very attractive, always looking at me and smiling and calling me. But after a couple of signs of trying to have sex alongside with other problems, that passion and attraction that she used to have for me, that eventually just disappeared. And in my opinion, it was normal for that to happen. I wanted to improve my sex life to last longer, to be able to give way more powerful orgasms to women. So I started to look in the internet, and what I found was this kind of one-time fixed methods that never worked significantly. People were saying things like buy this drink, buy this device, buy this delay spray, and that kind of stuff. And besides not working, I didn't feel that that's how things were supposed to be. Sex is something natural, and I don't think that we have to rely on external stuff to perform it properly. What I actually needed to do, and luckily I ended up discovering that eventually, was start to work on the evergreen skills that will help me to have better sex. That was around the time when I got exposure to the thing of building habits. And building habits was one of the highest ROI activities that I could do to improve my sex life. And believe me, they did. Once you're able to find a girl in the way that you want, that has no comparison with other things in life. And today I want to share with you a specific habit that can help you to achieve similar results. My name is Jesus Noya, and I'm a Venezuelan man with the goal of helping men to last longer in bed, become sexually dominant, and be more attractive. All this while avoiding the deadly mistakes that I made through my sex life. This comes from my experience of dating Latina women through South America, and also from the time that I used to be a medicine student and when I struggled a lot with a terrible sex performance. Today I want to help you to have a more active approach of improving your sex life and increasing your overall performance in bed by developing this specific habit. But very quick, if you're struggling with things like premature ejaculation, performance anxiety, if you want to overcome those things fast and accelerate the process for you to become a sex god, you can go and click the link in the description right now, and that way we can be in contact to work together on making that a reality as soon as possible for you. But now let's jump into the video. Since I was very young, I knew that I was a very, let's say, passionate guy. I just knew that I like kids and that I like to be in relationship. That's why I had my first girlfriend when I was only 11 years old. And when I was growing up and I started to be sexually active, it was really interesting for me thinking which one could be the biggest turn on for women. Which one was the thing that would excite them the most, the thing that would make them feel more wet or attracted to you. And I had the fortune, I was so lucky that the population that I had to find out this was Venezuelan women. You know how a lot of people in the internet, especially in the Anglo culture, they make this whole trend of knowing which one is the most attractive body type, which one is the most attractive trait for women. And they usually mention things like the facial attractiveness, the status, the money, whatever of those things, right? Well, when I was trying to find out that by myself, without more guidance from a very old book from a Spanish guy about attraction, I realized very quick which one was the actual deal. And it's not what people keep talking about nowadays. It's not the status, it's not the look, it's not the money, it's not whatever of that bullshit. Because I've met very beautiful women, hot women, a couple of them, they even look like porn stars. They were dating guys that if I show the pictures to you, you would think that it's impossible, right? Guys that were ugly, broke, skinny, fat, or losers in general. And it's not like those things matter at all, but despite that kind of hot women were still dating them. I saw it with my own eyes. And the main thing that I always seen that attracts women, that turn them on, and that make them want to have sex with you is charisma. Understanding charisma as evoking emotional light, communicating with women and interacting with them in a powerful, meaningful, and exciting way, instead of being boring and lame. And I realized that one of the best things that can help you to achieve that is by just listening to women. That's something I've been always told as a compliment, especially from women that I like. They say that one of the things that they like in me, or that they find very attractive, was the fact that I could listen to them in a deep and meaningful way. And this is a little bit of burned or cliche advice, right? Yeah, just communication is the most important thing in a relationship, that kind of BS. But I'm not talking exactly about that. When I say listen to women, I'm not saying about what they're saying, I mean about listening to them properly. Trying to make an interpretation of what they really want to say through the body language or the hidden meanings that their sentences have. And I'm not going to lie, this is a whole skill to develop and something that I did wrong for a long time. But once you build the habit of actually taking the time to listen to women and what they want to say and what they want to tell you, something that, to be honest, a lot of men aren't used to do, you end up learning by intuition eventually what they actually want to say. Don't confuse this with the soft boy kind of of way of listening, where a lot of men just stay there with this beggar energy, like chasing attention, and start to listen to women with the expectation of sex or something like that. Because a lot of men do that, especially those kind of soft voiced, sensible guys. They go there pretending that they care about what they have to say and they actually good listeners or like the rest of the men. But that's just BS. They're just pretending, because you can see that in the moment that the women start to reject them, then they don't give a fuck about whatever women were telling to them or their feelings. But there's a right way to do it, the masculine way to do it, where you act more like you're her rock, like the person that she can trust, and you're there to actually like genuinely listen to her. You do this by being present and genuinely valuing the fact that an ex-human being is taking the time to speak to you and share whatever it is in her mind. You're not judging or necessarily offering solutions. You're just there to listen whatever they have to say. And if necessary, you amplify and confirm their feelings. You make them feel like they're being understood by someone else, by you. When you engage more often in those conversations and you go there with this attitude of being the man that offers support and care about women, your charisma is eventually going to go up naturally, because you start to like pick up the mannerisms, the body language, and the patterns of what they're saying and what they actually want to say with those things. Just imagine being like this strong and confident man that women feel like they can tell things to you, not because you're nice or safe, but more because there's something in you that they can tell that you know how to speak with women, that you know how to listen to them. This is something that gets gears wet. Mark my words. And it's one trait that can make you sexy as fuck. So remember that anytime that you put this in practice, you're going there to the conversation, trying to learn what she actually wants, what she's actually trying to say. Listen to her body and her expressions. And that way you will eventually know what to do, in what moment, and how to perform it. And this is something that you can perfectly translate to sex. I always say that sex is like a dance, because it's true. If you ever went to these kind of Latino bars when they playing like salsa and stuff, you see how those dances are like erotic and kind of difficult to perform. You have to know when to give the right step in the right moment following the music. Sex is something very, very similar, and by building up this habit of listening to women in a more genuine way, you can learn how to calibrate that way better. And calibration is something so important. If you don't know how this translates into sex, let me give you an example. There were a couple of times where I received the phrase, "I don't want to have sex now." And you may interpret that in a straight way when a girl is saying that because no means no, but that's actually not the case all the time. And this is when the importance of calibration comes up. When I didn't have that much of calibration and I received that phrase from a girl, "I don't want to have sex now," I interpret it as a straight no. And it's always something like, okay, I know that consent is super important, we won't have sex, no problem. And I started to dress myself with no hard feelings, not like being upset or anything. A couple of days after that, that same girl started to tell my friends that I was such a pussy for not pushing a little bit more. And now that I think about it, it makes sense, because when she said, "I don't want to have sex now," she wasn't saying it like seriously. She was like undressing herself and jiggling. And you may think that I was very stupid to not see that, but that's what happens when you don't have calibration. The right thing to do was to see beyond her words and interpret what she actually wanted to say. "I don't want to have sex now." Okay, why she doesn't want to have sex now? It's because she doesn't feel comfortable. She doesn't feel comfortable with me. What is her face saying about it? Which one is the environment that we are? Is there something that I did recently that may affect this? All this sounds kinda complex, but when you're used to interact with women, this happen in literally just less than a second. You make all the math very quick. And it's also something that happens once you guys are making it. You know when to go harder, when to go slower, when to change positions, when to start to kiss her, when to be more romantic, when to go in the right spot. You see all those things, and you can develop the ability to perceive this by listening in a simple conversation. So I can't stress enough how much of a difference this habit can make in your sex life and your relationships, in your love life, because it's something that has been doing it for me and just keeps improving and improving. And once you're able to put that in a practical way and start to experience more of that connecting and deep love and sex, it's one of the experiences that for me makes me just feel happy for the fact of being alive. And I really wish that you can experience something like that eventually. Again, my friend, just let me remind you that if you're experiencing things like premature ejaculation, performance anxiety, and you want to accelerate the process for you to become a sex god, you can go and click the link in the description right now to get in contact with me so we can work together on making that reality as soon as possible for you. But besides that, man, I really hope this helped you, and I'll see you later. Nos vemos.